Today's video begins with scenes where Ukrainian operators of kamikaze drones neutralize Russian combat groups and their vehicles with precise strikes. The footage shows successive strikes on armored vehicles. Among the targets spotted was also a tank. Despite the tense situation, the operators and command's attention allows them to minimize risks to civilians and maximize the effectiveness of operations. These episodes demonstrate how modern technology and human experience combine to protect the territory. A small group of Russian soldiers from one of the units was moving along a road in rough terrain, keeping a fairly large distance between themselves in order to respond to unforeseen circumstances. These circumstances turned out to be a drone, which changed the route plan and killed several participants, including destroying the vehicles in which they were traveling. Reconnaissance drones often encounter enemy shelters and storage facilities while searching for such convoys. These may be ammunition depots, personnel assembly points, or even equipment storage facilities. Such objects pose a direct threat, as the enemy can use them to plan further attacks. That is why they cannot be left intact under any circumstances. Each such shelter must be destroyed to prevent the enemy from using it in the future. The Russian army is using all available means of mobilization, leaving the eastern villages of Beryatia without men. The footage shows several of them trying to hide from drones in the woods or behind isolated trees, but neither the bomber drone nor the kamikaze will spare them. We can also see footage from the Ukrainian Airborne Brigade destroying enemy shelters with bombers, enemy FPV drones that are blown to smithereens, communication methods between Russian soldiers in the form of satellite dishes and antennas hung on high-voltage communication towers, and combat shelters filled with weapons of destruction that start burning after detonation. Starlink satellites, which assist in both communication and reconnaissance. Russian logistical transport reserves, which were most likely prepared for retreat after the assault. A military tractor transporting a large-caliber cannon, which ended up as scrap metal next to a truck that will never be able to transport anything again. Another nearby unit came across an armored personnel carrier. At first glance, it looked abandoned, though the teams couldn't be certain whether it was truly empty or simply temporarily vacated. Drone crews who inspected the scene reported bluntly, "Everything that was brought from the swamps of Russia will be destroyed here." Acting on that resolve, operators carried out a series of precise grenade drops with surgical accuracy. The munitions struck critical points on the vehicle's hull and running gear, igniting fuel and tearing through armor panels until the carrier was rendered completely inoperable. After the strike, the crew confirmed the vehicle would be unable to fight or even be moved under any foreseeable conditions. Command on the ground evaluated the outcome as highly advantageous. The loss of one transportable armored vehicle in exchange for only a couple of grenades. An open field is almost a death sentence for any target. There is nothing between it and the sky. In this bare, open space, the target is extremely vulnerable, a small bright spot against the backdrop of a vast emptiness. The only chance of survival is to find some kind of cover, a place that the drone cannot fly over, which is why, in the middle of nowhere, the targets try to hide under the only tree. Unlike them, those who were a little luckier and found themselves near the forest had real cover and better chances. The drone operators move with almost unreal precision, guiding their machines through branches and over obstacles as if they were part of a carefully rehearsed system. So even when they think they are safe and can catch their breath, it is only an illusion. As they make their way to the landing site, Russian soldiers become the #1 target for reconnaissance and attack drones. As a result, assault troops, especially inexperienced ones, panic when they hear the hum of motors coming from 5 different directions, and you never know where the first shell will fall or fly from. Since landings are also a logistical and planned thing, they often leave shelters with provisions and ammunition there, which also makes them an important target for drone operators. Sometimes, shelters remain after the assault, where both a group and a lone wounded soldier abandoned by his comrades can hide. But they should not worry, because as we can see, drone operators catch up with fleeing soldiers to ask why they were abandoned, but after encountering the drone, they remain silent for some reason. We have repeatedly seen the destruction of drones used on ground targets and in the air, and today we will also see how drones work on water, namely how they attack small Russian boats moving along the river coast. And as we say, the captain goes down with the ship. Warning: the following footage is particularly violent despite censorship. This time, drone operators demonstrated what a truly accurate strike looks like. Often, people do not die immediately from the explosion itself. So even if it seems that the drone has missed its target, believe me, it has not. The flying shrapnel and debris are much more dangerous than the explosion itself. Those who survive the initial strike often die shortly thereafter, and those who survive may be permanently disabled, physically, mentally, or both. In the video, we see the same moment repeating itself in the minds of the victims. The thought, "Why did I come here?" flashed before their eyes, and almost immediately after that, they took their last breath. Sometimes the strike is so precise that it literally tears the soldier to pieces, leaving the scene of the incident where it is difficult to even recognize who this person is. Every element of the attack, from the timing of the strike to the scattering of shrapnel, is executed with lethal precision. What appears chaotic in real time is actually the result of carefully controlled actions, and for those caught in the strike, the consequences are devastating and absolute. Even a brief glance at the strike demonstrates how a single drone can turn a moment into total destruction, leaving no chance of escape or survival.